That's clearance. Have a great show.
Hello listeners and viewers, and welcome along to the Absolute Scenes podcast, the show that explores everything from artists breaking the mould to artists getting their big break. And speaking of a big break, we've been away for a while. As a group of players in any D&D campaign will know, the trickiest beast to conquer is not a three-headed dragon, but scheduling conflicts. But we're back! More bold, more curious, and in my case, with more hair in some really weird places. I am Andy Barton, and with me as always is my co-host, friend, and the person who has advised me that I should go and see more things with the doctor. It's Gabrielle Shepherd!
Hey! Have I told you to go to the doctor?
I mean, no, but I mean...
Am I just like, you should maybe get
for
that
the purpose of that intro and segue, then yes.
I really enjoyed that. That was very good. Yes, thank you so much for your patience, everyone. We have been away because, scheduling conflicts, but also we were having, you may have noticed from Joseph Wallace's episode, we were having some issues with our audio. So we've spent the last 2 months really figuring out what the hell was going on. And we have now figured it out. You'll notice shiny new mics.
Yeah.
And so far, we've just filmed Katie's episode and it's sounding really good. So
not just shiny new mics, shiny new sort of like, you're not going to be able to see this, but shiny new tech that's actually getting this here to you as well.
Hopefully it sounds much nicer.
So in the smoothest way possible when it comes to boring editing. We're not going to bore you about that. Instead, we're going to entice you and excite you with new guests, new stuff. We're talking about designers today.
Yeah, and we've got the amazing Katie Sykes. I feel like I say this for every guest. I'm like, oh my God, they're amazing. But like, so I've unconsciously...
I was thinking that, you did, but I mean... But that's not a bad thing.
I think I've been unconsciously following Katie's work since I was a teenager. You'll hear us talk about Cinderella in a bit with Katie. And just like from researching into Katie for this episode, I realised how many of her shows I'm like, I love that. And she's just so lovely and open. And she speaks a lot about like her love of being playful and devising. And she's just great.
What is we go and we talk to Katie about all the things that she enjoys and the things that she's liked and inspires her over the years, but like what show has blown you away, not necessarily about Katie's, but just for design, like the thing, something like a spectacle, and it could be anything that's just made you go whoa.
The problem is there's so many, but you've put me on the spot now. I'm struggling to think. I would say I saw a show at the Royal Court several years ago called Birdland.
Oh, right. Okay.
And that is, I think, Simon Stevens. I think. Sorry if I got that wrong. And Andrew Scott was the main character.
Nice.
Incredible. And I'm talking like 10 years ago because I think I was still a student. And it was just amazing. And it just, we actually spoke about this with Katie, with like a set that adapts to the story and like changes and builds. And at the end of the show, the whole stage flooded. And I was just like, it's just something you never expect. Like you expect to see maybe like, Singing in the Rain. You got some rain, you got a bit of water on the floor. Like I say a bit, it's a lot of water, but this was mad. You could feel the room just kind of be like, what is happening? Oh my God. And the whole thing just like flooded. And then if my memory serves me right, maybe I'm putting two shows together here, but the water then went and the set almost like broke down so you could see the brick walls of the back of the theatre.
Oh my gosh.
And he exited out of the fire exit. And I was like jaw on the floor. It was incredible. I mean, the Royal Court I've seen some incredible designs at the Royal Court. But that was like a standout moment for me. It was just beautiful.
Wow.
What about you?
So, I mean, I think I'm going to have to draw on... I go to a lot of music... I go to, like, rock, heavy metal music festivals and concerts. And I think ones that have blown me away are probably those types of shows. I mean, there have been, like, there's theatre shows, but for me, it's some of the sort of rock, the heavy metal shows that I've seen. bands like Amon Amarth, who are they do a lot of like Viking metal, and what they do is they will have. So I saw them last year, and they headlined at Bloodstock, and they had they basically told this and they told a story for the whole concert, and it was about Loki. And it was about Loki taking like the trickster, the gods, and doing everything against against Odin. And it culminated in, and they had this performer who was Loki, but then he was then sort of like inciting and tricking other sort of like the lesser gods, who are again sort of like performers on stage, and then they were using these lighting effects where people in their helmets were then, if they were tricked as Loki, they were then like glowing green, and then the band would like perform certain songs and stuff. Cool. And then it culminated in a massive
and he's like
it was
holding his hands up, he's like wait for the end.
It culminated in this massive battle on stage between Viking reenactments performers, and they did it on stage and also in the between the barriers and the front of the stage as well. So you had two levels of Viking warriors, two armies effectively like fight, and they were doing full-on reenactments. All to Amon Amarth music.
I don't know who they are, but I love this. Yeah, there's something about when a musician or like a band, they expand, because you've got the album, the music. It's amazing when you add a layer. Like, my references are not the same as Andy's, but I'm thinking of like Pink, Taylor Swift, like all of those. I will always be sad that I never got to see Panic at the Disco's album live. I Write Sins Not Tragedies. Sorry, Mum, but it's my mum's fault. To be fair, I was too young, but never mind. Isn't it so fun when you get like this other layer of artistry on top of the incredible art?
And honestly, like Taylor Swift is no different. Like the designers for her shows, and also like the way there's certain merchandise that they sell, and that's why loads of fans, I was going to say girls, but it's not just women and girls. Everyone. Fans turning up wearing pink cowboy hats and such like, because her Nashville roots, or at least the roots of her sort of like her music, they know the audience, and this is a thing that good designers do. And Katie talks about this, knowing your audience, knowing how to design merchandise, costuming, staging around what your audience. Because there's a particular
taste that comes with that kind of audience, and oh my god, so good. So now that we've got each other like super excited about this, shall we move into the interview with Katie? Because she's such a good guest, and she's so good at expanding on everything that we've just spoken about. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's really exciting. Really exciting to hear her thoughts and takes on designing and how she does it all. Yeah,
and also before we jump into the interview, I just want to say as well, everyone who's listening, thank you so much. Again, I know we've been doing this for like a year and a half now.
Yeah, thereabouts.
And it's so lovely to see, like, I think we've got about 50 listeners an episode. I don't know who you are, but thank you so much for listening. And one thing that I wanted to ask of you is that you are basically, we're still calling this our R&D phase, but I feel like we're coming to the end of our research and development phase. But I would love to hear from you things that you're enjoying, things that you want to hear more of, things, because we've had some lovely feedback from people online. There's Stephanie, she's been so lovely. We've had some really lovely people write in and give us comments. A few of you asked us what was going on with the audio, which was really helpful because now we've been able to like expand on it. No, it's fine. Listen, we're figuring it out, right? But yeah, I would actually find it super helpful if you have any ideas or thoughts that you would like to help us form this, help us grow this into what it's becoming, as some of our like OG listeners. Find us on Instagram, we're at the Absolute Scenes Podcast. If you prefer email, we're the Absolute Scene Podcast at gmail.com, because it's so helpful and it's so nice to have this community. And I don't really know who most of you are, and I would really like to engage with you, and I'm sure Andy feels the same. Like,
Yeah, no, I do. I was toying with whether I do the like, subscribe, share, I can't even get it out.
but they're
properly.
already doing that.
I
That's
know,
the
yeah.
thing. Like, so Andy's not on any socials. So Andy just hears me being like, "There's all these lovely people," and he just sees the numbers on the apps. But I get to chat to some of you, but I would love to chat to more of you. So yeah. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now. Get off my little power.
No, cheers, mate. Thank
all
you,
good.
and thank you
Yeah.
for everything you're doing.
And
but-
enjoy
Yeah.
the interview. Katie's amazing, and we'll see you in 2 minutes.
See you soon. Hello and welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. We are joined now by a very talented designer. You may remember her from designing such productions as Chloe and the Colour Catcher, Love's Labour's Lost, Jane Eyre and A Monster Calls. Her work on sets and costumes can be found throughout theatres nationally, including here at the Bristol Old Vic, the Globe, Sadler's Wells and the National Theatre. She is known to impart her vast knowledge onto the next generation of designers down here in the Southwest at institutions including the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, Bristol University and Royal Welsh College. Please welcome multi-talented and multi-award nominated and winning human, Katie Sykes!
Hello. Oh, I know I said this already, but thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me,
an
for asking me.
Honour, frankly. I feel like when you talk about theatre design in the Southwest and the UK, you're just one of those names that just is everywhere. So thanks for popping in and talking to us.
Very welcome.
How's your day been so far?
I've been cooking this morning,
Oh,
doing a lot of cooking. Yeah, I baked a cake and I cooked a sort of stew. Yeah, it's my mother-in-law's birthday at the weekend, so I baked her a cake.
you're prepping.
Yeah, lots of
Well
prepping.
So you bake cakes?
Yes.
Love that. What is the most ambitious cake you have ever designed / made?
Oh, it'd probably be one for my kids when they were little to try and, make it look sort of themed to something they
Yeah.
like. I think my son had obsessed with Angry Birds when he was young.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I know.
That's such a
So,
age.
you're that age.
that
yeah,
time.
he was at 5,
yeah.
6. So I remember making a cake and then trying to make Angry Birds out of ice. I mean, it was hilarious.
How did
He
it?
was very
How did
happy
it
with
go?
It was fine. He was
Yeah?
happy.
How many Angry Birds did you end up with?
Well, I just did 3 on top of
Okay.
the thing. I mean, I kept it. No, it wasn't that ambitious.
You're like, you get 3 and that's it. Listen.
Yeah. That's fine.
You don't want to feel like you're at work.
No.
You know, it's fine.
So there we go. That's an Angry Birds cake is as ambitious as it got.
Is there one that you would ever like? Is there one that you sort of try and attain to? Sort of like, is there a cake that you think, okay, that's the one that I really want to make one day?
Ooh. That's a really good question. I mean, the one I've made this morning is one that everybody loves and is a real favourite. And I think there's something about that. Just if people love that cake that you make, just make that cake.
Because it's clearly
Just
the one
keep
you're
making
really
that
good at.
cake,
And what
yeah.
kind of cake is it?
It's raspberry, almond and lime.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so good.
Yeah, it is
Oh.
good. It is good.
Is that something that you came up with?
No.
Or is that... Okay.
It is a recipe.
No.
But yeah, and I do it in a mould that's shaped like a sunflower. So when it comes out, it is it's very sweet.
I kind of want a bit of this cake now, but I'm not invited to the party, so it's fine. That sounds amazing. So I guess should we start talking about design? Because there's so many questions we have
Definitely.
for you. Obviously, trickiest cake to make.
Yeah.
Trickiest show to design?
Oh, yeah.
Great segue.
Yeah,
Thanks
that's
very
a good
much.
one, isn't it? I think, I was thinking about this, and I think I've really enjoyed nearly every show I've designed. So I think if I'm talking about a tricky show, it wouldn't be about really anything to do with the people or the place or anything like that. It would probably be about the brief. So I think the hardest brief I've ever had actually was, interesting enough, at the Globe, because I did their tour. And the tour itself goes out to such an extraordinary, it was that whole European tour. It went all around this country, all around Europe. And it started in a castle in Kent outside, and then finished in the Sam Wanamaker Playhouse, which is the candlelit Jacobean space.
Entirely different.
At the Globe.
Yeah.
So that's an indoor theatre, tiny and beautiful and very intimate. And so the piece had to work in these huge sort of open air theatres in places like Bulgaria and then go into small venues in Sweden, and then, you know, and it went to the Asylum tent that Knee High Theatre used to have. I don't know if anybody-
yes.
Wow.
So that summer it was down at the Lost Gardens of Heligan, actually, and it was in that tent. So it was a design, and it also had to go in the lorry, and it also had to break down, and it also had a live electric amped band.
Okay.
That had
So
to
not
be-
too many things.
Not too many things.
Not a big
all.
ask at
It
all.
was
Yeah.
really straightforward. And they obviously needed to not get electrocuted when it rained. So
Ideal. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So what did you end, because I've not seen this design, so like how did you get around that? What did you end up adapting and doing?
So what we did was I kind of created a box, a sort of open-ended box that the band were in, and then that box provided a level, and so either side we had ladders going up so that we could have a two kind of level performance.
Nice.
Because sometimes the audience would all be just seated on the grass and things looking at.
Yeah.
And then around that was a sort of purely decorative kind of frame that lit up at night. And was we set it in the 60s, so it was like a sort of pop art kind of border that lit up. So, but that also, if you couldn't fit that into the space, you didn't have to have that. You'd still be able to do the show. And then there was also a sort of deck that was that they performed on as well, because we had dancing and live music and all sorts. And so it had to be sort of super flexible. And actually, when it went to the San Wanamaker, we had to lower the ladders ever so slightly. And in fact, and this is a really interesting and slightly, well, it was very upsetting at the time, but we practiced with the actors, but because they've been doing it for 3 months, with the ladders being the drop that they were.
And then was there lots of like jumping and
lots of going up, scrambling,
very
up and down
physical,
these ladders. And of course, they were their body, you know, as performers yourselves, you know that muscle memory of things after a few months. And one of our performers just he just thought it was another step. Then landed badly and then went backwards and actually did inch himself badly. However, that is just, you know, everything had been put in place, we'd done the practices and all those things. So that kind of having to make a set that was so adaptable was quite a challenge. Yeah. But the show itself was just hilarious. We had such fun.
That's really nice, because I feel like you've been quite, I mean, maybe this is just from the outside, but I think you've been quite lucky. You seem to have worked with a lot of very nice, open, collaborative people. Obviously from the outside, you could be like, I hate everyone. But you see, because you work with Sally a lot, Sally Cookson. Yeah. And you seem to dip into a lot of different, like, I say levels, but I mean in terms of like scale rather than like quality. Lots of different scale of sizes and stuff. So I think we've spoken about this before, like, what's your favourite kind of scale to work with? Has it changed? Is that, you know, is it different challenges? Like, do you have a certain size scale?
I don't have a favourite scale. I think my favourite thing is, like you say, having a mixture. Yeah. I realised early on in my career that who was watching the show was really important to me as much as what the show itself was. And that was interesting. I think that came about from early on in my career, taking work into schools and making work for family audiences as well as adults. So when I first started here at Bristol, it was my first design job, and I was here. Oh, really? As a resident assistant designer. Yeah.
How old were you?
Back in those days, when we used to have
resident
anything.
Years ago. It was a very different type of building then, as you can imagine. But it's changed a lot. It has changed a lot. So that was, and I did a lot of plays written for adults when I was here first, and I enjoyed doing those, but it always sort of felt like something missing. And then I was very lucky to get work with Travelling Light Theatre Company, who were at that time taking loads of work into schools and things, and it really excited me, that thing of presenting work to some young people that had never perhaps seen live performance in that way in their school hall, happening in their environment. And the kind of hubbub and the kind of engagement was sometimes really extraordinary. Yeah, because also kids, if they don't like it, you know, they just stop. They stop watching. And we took a show to teenagers, and they were just shouting at our performers because of things that were going on. I mean, not
They were shouting at the characters and the story. Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah, really engaging and just going, you can't do that, you know, being quite
like,
sort of not, you know, and so it was, just really rich experience, I suppose.
Nice.
Yeah. And I suppose some of the bigger projects I've done, that audience in those big dark auditoriums is just, it's a very different kind of experience, isn't it? But obviously the making of the work in those bigger buildings is a very extraordinary job for a designer, because you have so many people who are there supporting you, bringing their own expertise. So you're able to realise design ideas that you are way beyond some of the things that you'd be able to do, obviously, with a small scale. So that is really, and your own learning experience is really good with that. So
that's great. Yeah.
Do you have a sort of like a Bible or like a little black book of design ideas that you go to when you're designing or having? So when all these shows that you've just been talking about, when you get briefed on, is there something that you can go, oh yeah, I remember thinking about this, or design or sketching or having an idea about that several years ago?
Yeah, it's probably not, it wouldn't necessarily be sketching or anything. I just think that visual stuff just goes in. I mean, probably better than it used to, and just sits there waiting until the right moment. But also because I work so collaboratively sometimes, particularly with some of the smaller scale devised work that we've done, it very much comes out of doing research and development weeks with everybody. Yeah. So, and then you bring some sort of visuals to the table after that. So it's I'd say that in those cases, it's much more influenced by what. So, for example, I did a show called Boing. I don't know if anybody saw that. It was a dance piece. It was all set on a bed for early years. That was here at one point, and then that went to Sadler's Wells on a regular basis. And that, you know, those sorts of things where it doesn't matter what ideas I've got, in terms of the visuals, well, it does, but it's sort of what they needed as performers was this bed in the middle of the space that they could bounce off and do all their lovely dance work. So that's sort of, you know, those things are the driving things. So less so, but I mean, I've got walls at home in my workroom of visual images, and obviously look up stuff as and when we need to. I mean, that's one of the loveliest parts of the job, is doing the visual research as well. So, and also you'd put that together to show directors, performers. Yeah. This is maybe where we might be heading with it, just to see if you're all on the same track and things. But no, I don't tend to keep a sort of, some designers do. Yeah, definitely.
But you, obviously everyone has like their own style. Yes. But how often do you find that you break out of that or adapt it a lot, and how have you developed that style? Like, because you have such a clear, like, visual language.
Yeah. I think it's, well, it's interesting you say we have a style. I mean, I think our job as designers, because we're not like fashion designers. No. It's a very different sort of job. And because we collaborate so closely with other people who are, you know, hugely opinionated. I use that word in the best possible way.
Big ideas
about how they want it to be. We do have to be a bit more open. I can't just go, that's not my taste. It might be that I have to let my own taste go and embrace a different kind of thing. So, and what I think I do love about this job is that on some projects I can be really decorative as a designer. Yeah. Other projects, it requires a much more sort of intellectual, conceptual kind of thing. So perhaps when I work with companies like Ad Infinitum, with George and Nia, you know, that conceptual brain is important. How are we going to tell this story? It may be with as minimal things, but we'll pick those. But then when you're doing, say, a Christmas show or, you know, a show for the winter season, then it's like, let's bring on the glitter and the twinkles. I
always remember the boots you made for Cinderella. Yeah. They're like legendary. So Katie made the Cinderella at the Tobacco Factory, made these, Cinderella had these Doc Martens that were just covered in Diamanté. They were great. And I remember she came out and I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. And I remember talking to, I think I was still in Young Company, like I was still like a teenager. And I remember talking to everyone in the Young Company because we'd seen it and being like, did you see the boots? It was like amazing. So that's a standout thing I always remember for that
about
Christmas
what
show.
the job requires, doesn't
Yes,
it?
yeah.
I think for Christmas shows, you want to have those moments where people just gasp at the kind of twinkle and beauty of an image. Whether I don't know if you remember, they came out in those big pink tutus as well.
That was great.
Just in that space, and obviously very limited resources we have there at the Tobacco Factory. But you just think, I'll put that into that moment and that moment and that moment.
Yeah.
But
you're
so it
very,
is just to be a chameleon, really.
Yeah, you're very good at, because we had this, so I was lucky enough to work with Katie last year on Pinocchio, and I noticed you're very good at choosing, like you create a spread, and then you're very good at choosing the details that you really want to emphasize and kind of make that very glittery visual language. So it's like, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to see with different scales we were talking about earlier of your work. So yeah, that's lovely. I guess, do you ever, obviously in your own style, do you ever like hide anything in your designs? Or do you have things that you're like, every show I do this?
Yeah, I mean, other people.
I was really hoping you were going to say yes to this question.
Well, I don't think I hide anything. I think I have a number of collaborators who will say, yeah, she's always puts, a lot of my amazing costume supervisors that I work with will probably attest to that there's always a stripy top.
Yeah.
There'll probably be some nice knitwear. There might be, I think my friend Bianca Ward, who supervised Cinderella, I did a lot of Tobacco Factory shows with her. She says there's always something lilac in the show, and it's interesting because I would never wear lilac, I don't think, but there's often a lilac thing, and often that'll be like my little go-to without even realising it. So in Wonder Boy, there's a little lilac moment, and I don't know, it's where Rushy comes back and she's been told she can't come back to school, and we just found this lovely, it's very simple, it's just a lilac sweatshirt. Yeah. But it just suddenly was like, it just changed her completely. There was a softness. Yeah. She suddenly looked softer and vulnerable. And that's an example of a show where everything has been very precisely kind of chosen, because it was such a kind of graphic style. Yeah. So you really had to keep things very controlled. I had to keep things very controlled on that.
Was that quite difficult? Did you want to explode and you?
I don't think I did, actually, because again, it's a good question. Yeah. We had so much going on with all the amazing stuff that Ramesh was doing, all the visual vernacular stuff, all the creative captioning, and it was going to be such a full experience as it was. Yeah. That again, that is our job as designers to go, well, where does my role fit in that? And I don't want to kind of overwhelm anymore, Yeah. And I think sometimes, when you go, and I don't get it, obviously none of us get it right all the time, probably not frequently, but when you go and watch a production and it can just be all too much.
A bit overstimulating.
Like, where is the... Yeah.
Not specific enough, actually. Yeah, interesting.
How do you, so when you're not sort of actively doing research for a show, what do you do in your own sort of personal life, hobbies, or etc., that you look to actively maybe try and get some stimulus and sort of research for further ideas?
I love watching films. I think maybe this is true for a lot of people that work in theatre. It's quite nice to go and watch an art form that's about storytelling but isn't theatre.
Different,
you can just relax, can't you? And go, this is not my,
this isn't my
world.
It's amazing how often that comes up as a thing. And I agree, as someone who shares that as well.
Yeah. You can just sit back and relax. I do go to exhibitions, all those sorts of things, just going to see fine art. So going to see those kind of more conceptual ways of storytelling, be it through objects and things like that. Really enjoy that. That's always a really good reset. Sometimes I'll just go to the Arnolfini and hang out in the bookshop, look at, it's those, when you've been pouring it out into projects, your creativity, you often, you do get a bit empty, don't you? So it is worth doing that. But I really just like being out in the country. To be perfectly honest, I just like being out in the countryside.
It's so good.
Yeah,
I've realised this recently. So I was just saying, I was in Edinburgh and we had this, it was just the landscape.
Yeah.
There's something about space
Yeah.
and just greenery.
Yeah.
It just all these ideas started coming to me. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not at work, but actually, like, it was like, oh, this is really nice.
Yeah.
And I think when you live in a city or when you're constantly inside in buildings and designing,
Yeah.
I completely agree. Like, you need that space and
Yeah.
quiet
Yeah.
for your brain, and also to like regulate your body. So it's
Yes.
not like, okay, go. You get a chance to just breathe and let things come in, like
Yeah,
you say, and just take a
definitely.
book and read a book, or, you know.
Yeah, books are really
is
good, aren't they?
nice.
And I've got lots of lovely friends who aren't in theatre, but I would say are incredibly, they're really creative people. And yeah, I do a bit of pottery, lots of gardening, and all those sorts of things.
So outside of work,
Yeah.
are those the things that you really value? Like, is there anything that you really love is like completely separate from theatre and work? What's your...
Yeah, I mean, family and friends,
Yeah.
it goes without saying.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
It's just everything, isn't it? I think, I do a bit of pottery, but very, very, very low-key, just for myself.
Yeah, that's...
But what I love about it is with other people in a space. We're in a creative space with other people, which I do love, but we're all just deeply kind of in our own little worlds. But then there'll be a funny little hubbub of chat.
Yeah.
And then we'll all get back into our own. And none of us are professional. We're not trying to... I'm trying not to be that with that. Is just like, oh, that mug came out a bit wonky. That's fine, because it'll either just become another of my paint pots, or whatever. So there's no pressure. I mean, making theatre is incredibly pressured because there is always this deadline, isn't there?
Yeah.
And the show literally has to go on,
Yeah.
and you might get to week 3 and go, it's really not working, but it's got to go on. It's got to go out there in front of the public. It's not like being an artist where you might be able to, a painter, you go, well, that canvas didn't work, I'm going to put that one away. We have to put it on.
Yeah.
And that is pretty crazy sometimes.
And is there a story that you love or think about a lot, but you haven't yet designed and you'd like to? This might be your absolute scene, actually. So...
No, I don't think it's my absolute scene.
Okay.
I don't think there is a story that I haven't... I mean, there are loads of stories I haven't designed, but there isn't a story I'm burning to do. I would love, and this is something that I share with my kids, one of the funnest things we do for me is sitting down and watching music videos, because I love watching dance. And so we'll have little sessions where we'll get on the computer and and
I love that.
So we'll watch and
mini films. They're just mini films. You're sitting and watching mini films.
It's music videos with a lot of dance in them.
Yes.
Where everyone looks incredibly cool.
Yeah.
And
it looks like they're playing it in a cheese grater.
Yeah.
Like the ones in the 90s.
Wait, say that again.
So in the 90s, a lot of, well, I'd say late 90s, really 2000s.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, carry on.
In the 2000s, so a lot of R&B videos. So I guess sort of like Mariah Carey ones, but also a lot of other artists as well. They used particular sound stages that had like a lot of silver, a lot of chrome, and a lot of lights coming from different angles.
I was like cheese grater, but now I understand
but when
the
you
visuals.
look at it, and you've got the artists who are singing, dancing into the background, and it's all so symmetrical with the sound stage behind them. It looks like they're
in a cheese
grater.
Great.
Anyway, sorry.
No. I'm going to look those up. No, I think what we tend to is like, do you know Jungle, band Jungle?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're incredible.
That's
like roving
beautiful.
camera, music, choreography. I mean,
stunning.
So I just think that would be a dream job, wouldn't it? To kind of go, right, your brief is to make this kind of warehouse look more cool than it already looks, and and put all these extraordinary people into really cool clothes. And just have racks and racks where you just got to do dress up.
So we basically need to hook you up with that.
Yeah,
is that
and
what
then
we're...
basically watch them create that, watch all this dancing.
I mean, this is...
And, you know...
Yeah.
It's such a shame because announced yesterday or 2 days ago was that MTV is finally sort of like shutting all of its other stuff down. The only one that will have 2 channels, which is just its reality channels. But all the music channels gone.
Well, I guess
end of this
we've
week.
changed mediums, haven't we? Like if I was going to go and watch a music video now, I would go on YouTube and look for a specific one.
Yeah.
Or they even come up on Spotify now, don't they? So and things like that. So I guess,
But I was that age where videos were in, and you could video things off the telly.
Oh yeah, I would come home from school and watch Kerrang, or I would watch
video
MTV.
music.
Yeah.
That. Like it was like a sort of a mixtape, but a mixed video tape.
And there was some incredible videos. I mean, there's still some incredible videos.
Like, Peter Gabriel, Sledgehammer.
Yeah.
My generation.
I know. That was
good.
That was and that was one of the most watched. That was cited in this article. That one, because it was one of the most watched videos and played videos that they ever did, because it was just so.
If just jumping off what you were saying about dance videos, if you haven't watched "This Is America" by Donald Glover, which you must have done, it's incredible. It's in a warehouse,
yes, of course I have.
and there's a car. That's
totally.
It's all one shot,
amazing.
isn't
I
it?
feel like you
One
enjoy
shot
that.
one as well, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, is there? I mean, obviously that's a specific language, but is there a like a show out there that blows your mind from a design perspective? Like, is there anything that you're like jaw on the floor?
Yeah, what that I've seen.
That you've seen, or that you may not have seen it. You might have just seen the visuals of it and been like, wow.
I mean, there's a company called Kid Pivot, who are a Canadian dance company.
Okay.
I mean, again, you're probably noticing a theme here. I've only made one or two dance shows. I haven't designed much for dance, but I do love going to watch dance. So Kid Pivot had done some amazing shows, and their design is beautiful. But also there was this show I saw at the National Theatre, I think it was 2017, called Us Them. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, I heard of it. I didn't see it.
Yeah, amazing. It's a Belgian theatre company. I think I've got that right, Bronx Theatre. And a very dark theme. It was a show for sort of 8+, so slightly older children and teenagers, and it was all about the Beslan school siege.
Okay.
Where obviously numerous people died. It's a very sad thing, but they made this absolutely beautiful production, and the set was one of those ones that I think if I had to choose a kind of style, I think it was being my favourite, I suppose, and it ties in with what you asked me earlier. When a company can come up with an economic design that maybe develops over the production, but the performers are kind of creating the images themselves, but it ties in metaphorically, symbolically so much of what's going on, and also makes them move in a different way. So what they did was they created throughout the piece this amazing kind of cat's cradle.
Oh, wow, okay.
Which, because what happened, the children were all, it's very dark, but anyway, I won't go on too long, but the children were brought into the school hall, and then the whole thing was wired up to loads and loads and loads of bombs and dynamite. So it was all tripwired and da-da-da. So this obviously this idea of all these lines, but the actors were playing these two young children as if the children were seeing this whole thing as a kind of game.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a bit like the film Life is Beautiful, where the boy is in the concentration and his father goes, well, this is this game that we're playing. Yeah. And so it's like, obviously deeply moving. But that I just thought was the epitome of a kind of perfect concept delivery. It was a piece about a really sort of strong theme, but was made for young people. And I think those are always very brave things to do, and you have to be so skilled theatre maker to make that kind of work. So that I would say is probably one of the most stunning things I've ever seen.
Yeah, like really responsive, really building.
Yeah.
Was it quite simple as well then?
Well,
I say simple. I don't mean simple. I mean clean. Like,
very
was
clean.
It focused on these lines and these wires?
Yeah. So there was sort of obviously hooks positioned into the stage, and it obviously developed, and it made their movement harder and harder, so that then it became very complex for them to move around and things. So not lots of stuff on stage, but a very beautifully
clear,
executed
clean.
idea. Yeah.
Nice.
With your bigger projects, so the ones with big ideas or sort of like big technically, Are there particular lessons that you've learnt from it, or even techniques that you've learnt?
Yeah, I mean the bigger ones require a level of sort of logistical management. When we did Peter Pan at the National, for example,
Did that start here?
it did start.
It did.
here,
I thought so.
But we did it on a obviously much more sort of lean platform, for want of a better word. So when it went to the National, I think one of the most interesting things for me was, well, it was just brilliant to have all that support and things, but then you do have a lot more emails constantly coming in because you're working with so many different. So things like we had teeth made for Captain Hook. Gold teeth made for her. I can't remember how much they were. I don't want to think about it, but it was amazing. But that whole thing is in itself is like 5 emails to organise just getting her teeth done and things, and then her wigs and things. But also you have a whole slew of understudies at the National, and they all have to have their version of the costume. And with Peter Pan, it was doubly complicated because everyone was in harnesses, and some people were, because they were counterweighting, so you had
the performers were counterweighting each other.
So you might have Peter Pan flying, and the counterweighting person is the person that pulls him up in the air. And if Peter was off, you'd have a different Peter. That would mean a different counterweighter because their weights have to be very even.
Yeah.
So the kind of knock-on effect of all of that was very complicated.
You're like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm very triggered.
Because all the harnesses were different and everyone's different padding they needed. And, so as you can imagine. Yeah, that was a lot.
Did you have a bigger team on that, I would hope? Like support network.
Yeah, definitely.
To get
you have
through
an
that.
absolutely full-time costume supervisor who's not freelance, who was in the building.
Great.
And then every department, and then also a stage manager whose job really was to do a lot of just that plotting of who everyone was at any given time.
The knock-ons.
Because most people were playing about 5 characters, so that was a really useful thing to have that person. Yeah.
Great.
It's still a lot though. Still,
I can imagine. And also like to go from a show that you know so well, I imagine, by that point, and then kind of turn it on its head and adapt it and expand it because it's a bigger stage as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that must be...
Yeah.
I guess speaking on that, is there anything that you wish you'd known or learned sooner as a designer earlier on in your career? Any advice?
Any advice?
Lovely designers out there.
Lovely designers. Advice I would say is try and... It's difficult, obviously, because I think early on in your career, and it's the same for everybody involved in theatre, there doesn't feel like there's a lot of choice early on. You're taking things because they're coming along, but be open to those things and see the possibilities of them. And also try and don't dismiss certain projects because you might not think it will be good for your career because you might actually really thrive in that, and that might be who you are.
Yeah.
And those people might be the sort of people you want to collaborate with.
Yeah.
As we know, in this industry, there are certain types of work that seem to have a higher profile or are seen as more important and all those things. And so, understandably, people want to maybe try and get to work in those environments. But those people may not be your sort of people.
Yeah.
Those people might not be... I like working with really playful people. And that is something that I thrive in. And all the work that I've done has been about a lot of the people I've been collaborating with.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And when did you figure that out? Was that through doing the work that was going into schools and touring? Like you kind of realised that? Yeah,
there was a real like, whoa, this I'm feeling something completely more with this.
Yeah.
And I've been very lucky to have done a whole mixture of those things. You know, for example, I've worked at the National with all those resources, and I've been abroad with things, and I've had shows go here, there, and everywhere and stuff. So I've been very lucky in that respect. But I think that definitely did make me feel. I just was suddenly working with these really brilliant, playful, devising performers, and it was just this is just great.
Yeah.
And we're not actually going to design this until we've played around in a room for a while. I'm not reading a script which is requiring me to put all these weird things that the writer, no disrespect to writers.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've got some
They're incredible.
Yeah, incredible. it just felt so much more inclusive. And
for you, that's where you find your joy of the work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I guess also those people, so often I imagine as a designer, when you're given a script and it's like, here you go, weeks, months before you even get in the rehearsal room. Like, one thing I love is stepping into a rehearsal room and being like, oh, we're collaborating on this design. Like, it's that thing of like, what do you think about your character?
Yeah.
It's really nice when you get to have that devising moment with the designer. And so often they come in with an idea and you've got a different idea, and then you have to like jam it together, which often amazing designers, and obviously you adapt to that and it's fine. But it is really nice when you get to sort of devise with a designer and sort of, So I'm glad you get lots of playful people. Yeah, that's great.
I'm always a big fan of that show I'm doing at the moment, where my lighting designer has, George, you both know George, where he suggested this really sort of quite simple and random lighting moment. Actually, he's done two things. He's done an amazing lighting moment, which completely changes how you see the beginning now of the play just by this using this one device, and then he's also like came up with a suggestion around a soundscape as well for one of the scenes, and basically like there's a very like big twist in the show, and rather than having like a sound or some thematic music to push that quite dramatic moment, instead actually having absence of sound. So having a thing going and then suddenly the absence of that sound is basically conditioning the audience. Classically conditioning the audience. And it's completely like changed. And it was like two really simple ideas that he just like design ideas that he like just put in and suggested, and it's completely changed it. And I love experiencing those moments and experiencing stuff like that as a director and as a performer as well, but as a director, like just hearing somebody's input, who, especially as I get it as a director, where I just can't see the wood for the trees up to a point, and I need another set of eyes, creative inputs, or at least creative eyes to go, oh, have you thought about this?
Show you a different angle of it,
And it just like blows my mind. So I'm like, oh man, that's so great. That's such a great idea.
Definitely, isn't it? And when the room is comfortable with that, if you've got directors who are comfortable with someone like me going, well, if they just kind of, pick that up, whatever, at that moment, all the layers just,
because it's only going to enhance it, right? Like it's that thing of, I guess, I don't know if you've had an experience where it's like you're a designer and that's the visuals, but actually like you're still a creative that has had lots of experience. Like it's nice to have that collaborative voice, like you say, like from a different angle. So that's great. It's great.
Yeah,
it's time.
The intake of breath from both of us.
It is time.
We think it's time. So, Katie Sykes, this is the time, the apex of the interview, where we're going to now ask about your absolute scene. This is a scene from a play or a show, or even a book, or even a song. But it could also be from a TV show or a movie that basically, maybe it's something that's inspired you to get into all this mess. Maybe it's something that you draw on as part of your sort of creative inspiration, or it's just maybe something that you just really, really like. So, Katie Sykes, what is your absolute scene?
Oh, well, the thing is, I couldn't choose between two.
Everyone does it. I love
Isn't
it.
that weird?
Yeah, please tell us both.
Both of them make me cry. Oh. So I will try and get through talking about. One is crying because it's so extraordinary and kind of awful and brilliant.
Yeah.
The other one is just pure joy crying.
Okay.
So I'll start. Can I just start with the awful and
do whatever you
brilliant?
want?
Yeah. Well, it's not awful. It's an extraordinary
crash us down and then bring us back up.
Yeah. And then we'll have fun afterwards. So the first one is the film The Piano. They're both films, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Have you seen The Piano?
I have, yes.
I haven't.
Yeah, you have.
So have
not.
So explain.
Okay. So I was probably in my early 20s when I watched that, and it was, I think the reason the film, I mean, it's directed by a woman, it stars the most incredible performance by Holly Hunter, but what really, really struck me was the way the costume in that was used as a whole sort of character in itself. So it's sort of mid-Victorian, and there's a moment where, if you haven't seen it, it is a big, massive
Okay,
spoiler.
so maybe don't.
Well,
Tell it if it's key to your.
it is pretty
Okay,
key.
well then go ahead.
It is
Spoiler
pretty
ahead,
key.
everyone. If
Yeah.
you're going to watch the film, pause
So I'm
now.
sorry.
Come back in a
There
bit.
is a moment where the main female character gets her finger chopped off.
Okay.
And there's just something really extra about the visuals in the moment after. And it's raining and she's stumbling through this kind of money thing. And she's wearing this beautiful Victorian dress. And she sinks down in slow motion. And the dress kind of rises up in this kind of bubble around her. And it is just, I mean, it's an incredible moment. And you can't really watch it without. It's very horrific as well. But it was just the way that I hadn't seen costume being used in such an emotional way before in a film.
Interesting. Okay.
The costumes provide shelter for her and her daughter at one point. It's just really interesting. So there's that one.
Wow.
And then when I was designing costumes for Jane Eyre, that's where I was talking about earlier about things just sitting in the back of my head and just gone. And I remember talking to my friend Jenny, who I've collaborated for years on as a costume maker, talking about that. And she just worked with the costume designer of the film. I think it was the last film she designed, which was Far From the Madding Crowd.
Oh, wow.
A
Okay.
fairly recent one.
Yes.
Beautiful
Yeah.
again. Her name is Janet, and I can't remember her surname, which is terrible, but amazing. She's sadly died. But I remember saying to Jenny, I want these skirts. So we had the sort of choral female characters in Jane. I want these skirts to have this very particular kind of bell shape. And so that when they sink down, because I knew they were going to be super physical, sink down, that we get that lovely kind of slow kind of, and that was a direct kind of, for me,
Inspiration.
reference to that film
great.
and how that sort of. But then the jolly one is the nice one is a scene from Babe.
Oh,
I know.
I recently rewatched Babe.
Yes.
Oh,
So it's the farmer dancing.
So
to if I could have words, I could make a day for you. That's right.
yeah.
And it's James Cromwell, brilliant. I know.
I love him.
Just
love him.
And that for me just sums up how we should all feel. I mean, I know I bang on a bit about making work for families, but I do think it's just so important that an actor like that is completely committed to this. So anybody who doesn't know, he's feeding his lovely pig, who's very ill on the sofa, who actually at that point was a very good puppet. And and then the music starts coming in. He starts dancing to the pig, and the pig kind of gets much happier. And then at the end of the song, he turns around and all the animals are looking through the window. And obviously I've watched that loads with my kids, and I just think it's just gorgeous.
It's so tasty as well, because again, going back to the design, like the visuals of that being so cozy, and I think the fire's on, and it being, because he's trying to, hasn't he got like pneumonia or something? He's got like the flu, and he's trying to like warm him up, and it's just like so visually tasty and warm and very like fieldy farmer. Like they've done it so well.
It's a gorgeous
such
film.
a good show.
And I think a good director, good designers will understand that there's a very key relationship when it comes to a narrative of farming as well, especially farming of, I mean, agriculture one thing, but farming of like animals, because it's around that nurturing, that looking after of beings. But also they can go one of two ways. They can either be the father, the nurturer of these beings, or they could also be their worst enemy as well. And a good director will understand how to tell that narrative. And you can see the same. I mean, Aardman did it. I would say Aardman, but Nick Parker did brilliant with like Shaun the Sheep. And that's something I know very well, because my son is a massive fan, obsessed with the Shaun the Sheep movies and the TV show and Timmy the Sheep as well. But yeah, the way that, again, that's sort of like the idea of farmer looking after, and and then also when animals become a personification of or catharsis of our emotions as well, and when they become slightly humanized, in the same way that it's also why George Orwell utilized that so horrifically in Animal Farm.
Also, I don't know if I've got this completely wrong, but I think I was reading a story about James, the actor. And I think he's a massive animal rights vegetarian human being. And he fought really hard for the film to get made, I think, because he was just, and you can just feel it. I know maybe we're just putting that on because he's such a good actor, but I feel like you can feel his excitement and love for the project. And so good. So good.
Are they, so I'm imagining both of those scenes then are things that you return to quite regularly, either sort of internally or also externally?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a point when my daughter got to a certain age, I said, let's watch the piano. And obviously she had to be of a certain age and things, and it felt like that was an important moment. But then, I mean, it is interesting talking about watching stuff with your son, how, lucky enough to have children and lucky enough to sort of sit and watch things with them, and how actually what a lovely thing that is that you start to you sort of go back to some of those films that are made for young people and families, and they're just incredible, obviously. But that thing that you share, that lovely, and
I guess seeing it through a different pair of eyes as well, seeing the things that they spot. Do you find they spot things that you didn't necessarily notice or chime with, and then you're
Amy and I were having this conversation today because for the 25th time he was watching Toy Story, and when you actually, I sat down again watching it because I realised that the script is an incredible script.
It has,
and the opening, probably the opening 15 to 20 minutes, so the opening sort of like 15 to 20 pages of that script are just a masterclass in establishing context, establishing threat, establishing the stakes, but not just of like the wider world and creating the world, but also of the individuals as well, and how they set it up. Josh Whedon et al., because several of John Lasseter who wrote it, how they set up the stakes, but also the objectives of like Woody and also of Buzz, but then also like the wider, the chorus, the ensemble of all the toys. And yet at the same time, all the information. So done in a way that doesn't feel like exposition.
But I think that's what we were talking about, saying about some art is valued over others. And I feel like we've spoken about this before, but it's a universal known truth that people don't value family and children's work as much as some important drama up here, which is wild, because actually kids are that like litmus test of, is something really good? And you don't have to spoon feed them, and it doesn't have to be simple. Like you can have these amazing, and actually you should have these amazing scripts. Obviously, like really young ones, it's more like a lovely visual playing around. Like with Boeing, I imagine that was a sort of thing. Yeah. But having that, the meat to it and the chunks is really important to keep them, because otherwise they're like gone. Yeah. And that's why like a really good children's film that can hit layers for adults. Like I think Inside Out does this really well as well. It hits you in the feels as an adult, having experienced all of those things, but it also for kids is like so fun. If you can do all of that, if you can hit everyone, fair play to you. Magic. Definitely. So good.
So
this is the end.
Last one. You're up.
It's the end. We've kept you for ages, so you should be allowed to go now. My last question is, what is the one question you wish people would ask you?
Well, I think people do ask me this, and I just think it's a nice question to ask. What are you looking forward to?
Oh, and so Katie, what are you looking forward to?
I thought, I know they're going to ask me this. In the immediate future, we're having a family get-together at the weekend, so that'd be lovely.
Nice.
But I do, I mean, having done Christmas shows for years and years and years and years, and always loved doing them, I've got a little one this year, which we've already half made with a company called Scarlet Oak. And it's going to be on in the front room in Weston-super-Mare, which is a gorgeous venue. Yeah. And so I'm really looking forward to that hubbub when they start arriving. And you'll know that from being down in the foyer when they start arriving.
What size human are we talking?
It's small ones,
small.
So, and obviously their parents, and there'll be a few babies in there and all of that. So that will be really fun. And so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I just think sometimes our daily days can sometimes be quite challenging, can't they? For lots of reasons. And so sometimes just somebody going, oh, but what are you looking forward to? Just takes you out, doesn't it, for a moment, just to think, oh, actually, I've got that
sparkle of joy
mate in a week's time.
Because it's so easy to make everything normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then be like, and even if it's something extraordinary, if you've done it a few times, it feels very normal. So that's lovely. I really like that. Thank you so much again for coming. This has been
great.
So lovely.
Enjoyed myself a lot.
Thank you. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. And I guess that's goodbye. So it's goodbye from me.
Yep, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See you next time.
That's clearance. Have a great show.